Hey everybody, hope your day is going well. A patron of mine just sent this video to me and said, check this out, the rescue of Jessica Buchanan, the story about a woman who was kidnapped and held hostage, I believe for 93 days, if I understood that correctly, by Somali pirates. I wasn't aware of her story. Of course, I know about a lot of the issues, with in that area with Somali pirates and of course, the famous story, Captain Phillips, and then the film made. So I know a little bit about that, but I wasn't aware of her story. I believe she was an American or is an American aid worker. I'm not 100% sure about that. Let's watch the video.
Tonight, for the first time, we have the story of the rescue of Jessica Buchanan. It is the tale of a secret mission by SEAL Team 6 that few people have heard about until now. On a January night in 2012, members of SEAL Team 6 jumped from a plane into the skies of Somalia. Jessica Buchanan was being held hostage, and the SEALs were descending just in time.
Wow.
Buchanan was a humanitarian aid worker who had come to help children in one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Hers was an ordeal that ended in a flash of violence, but had begun 93 days earlier when her car was stopped by bandits in a place she calls hell.
Wow. That is horrific. But it's quite amazing that some humans who walk this earth, first of all, they go into a dangerous territory to help children. That's one part of the story. And then the people who would assume got her out, jumping out of a plane into this very dangerous territory. Some humans on this planet are extraordinary. And that's amazing to learn about their stories, right? Through books or videos like this. Wow.
Story will continue in a moment.
We stopped very abruptly, like so abruptly that I felt like everybody just fall forward. And then I start hearing all of this pounding on the windows and the windshield and all this shouting in Somali. And there's a man standing there screaming, and he has an AK-47 and he's shouting and he's pointing it at us. And then he climbs into the car next to me and he points an AK in my face. And they're hyped up like they're on speed. And all of a sudden we just take off. The driver just takes off and we just start slamming all over the place down these camel tracks.
What did you think they were going to do?
I figured they were going to rape me and then kill me. And I just keep thinking, this can't be the end. This can't be the end of my life. I'm only 32 years old. I haven't had any children yet. I didn't get to say goodbye to Eric. I didn't get to say goodbye to my dad. Like, this can't be the end.
Jessica Buchanan was
Just the way she described that, was very vivid, the picture that she's painting, and of course also the emotions and the thoughts that go through your head. These are situations that you can't prepare for, and no human being should ever go through. Of course, we know that's not the case, but yeah, people banging on your car, shoving an AK-47 in your face, chasing you. You think about the people that you leave behind. You think about your own time. It's not fair. You're 32 years old, and you have this whole life to live. And you're in a country, far away from home with people chasing you.
facing the end at the end of the earth. Somalia, on the farthest tip of Africa, is war-torn and lawless.
This is essentially no man's land.
Militias battle over an unforgiving land, as we saw while covering a famine there in 2011. It was the same year that Buchanan was with a Danish charity teaching children how to avoid landmines. On October 25th, her car was hijacked.
Even that sentence alone should not be in existence. Nobody should ever say, I'm going to teach a kid how to avoid landmines. That should not even be a thing. It's like when I was a kid and I first saw gas masks for children from the war. It's like, wow, how do you even begin to make that or design that in the drawing board and manufacture it? I don't even.
Driver is driving like just a madman. We're bouncing all over the place. My head keeps hitting the window. It keeps hitting the roof. I'm holding on to the side, the handle on the Land Cruiser, just trying to keep myself steady.
What happened next?
It gets dark and we've changed vehicles a couple of times. More people have come. They're screaming. And I hear from behind me a higher pitched voice going on in Somali, and I think, my God, they have a woman involved in this. And I turn around and I see a small child in the back of the Land Cruiser with an AK-47 draped in ammunition. And I think the irony of why I came to Africa in the first place.
Exactly the kid you were trying to save, a child soldier.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
They got to him first. And if that's the only thing you see your entire life, you can't really tell right from wrong anymore. And that is very scary and heartbreaking.
Learning the trade.
She'd been kidnapped along with a co-worker, Paul Fisted. They drove into the night and then were ordered to march into the desert.
And they tell us to get down onto our knees. And I think, okay, this is it. Like, I'm bracing myself to be shot in the back of the head. And I think that there's mercy in the fact that maybe they're not going to rape me first, but that it's just going to be quick. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then all of a sudden, somebody shouts from behind us, "Sleep." And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't hear that correctly, did I? He just said sleep.
She collapsed, slept through the night, and the next morning was met by the man who led the bandits.
And we ask him, are you going to kill us? Is that why we're here? He says, no. Money. We just want money.
How much were they asking for?
They started out at $45 million.
They thought you were pretty valuable.
I guess so.
The bandits used her cell phone to call her husband, Eric Landemont. The two had married on an African.
Oh, I know. Just imagine getting that call. This is surreal, you know. Reality does trump fiction often. What humans are capable of. That's the scary thing. We call them monsters. Because I think we're afraid to call them human because that's what they are and that's in us. It's kind of, we don't want to admit that is in us. They do horrific, monstrous things, but they're still human. And that's the scary part.
Beach 2 years before. But his number and the numbers of Buchanan's family had all been disconnected. It was part of the charity's emergency plan. The one number that worked was her Nairobi office with a hostage negotiator standing by.
Wow.
And so began months of talks.
Where did they keep you?
Months. Wow.
Day in, day out.
Under trees. Outside.
You were outdoors for 93 days?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in the night, they forced us to sleep out in the open.
What were the nights like?
Long and cold. Then the rainy season hit, and it would rain all night long, and you're already freezing, so then you're sitting there wet.
What were you eating?
Tuna fish, maybe once a day. We would get a small can of tuna fish and a piece of bread.
Did you feel
It's
like you were
amazing she
beginning to
survived
lose
this.
your humanity at any point?
Yeah, I mean, they treated us like animals. To be so sick that, you know, you're vomiting behind bushes and you can't walk straight, and you're laying in the fetal position on the ground under a tree, and they don't even They don't care. Their duty was to keep me from dying because then I wasn't worth anything.
They were in the hands of men and boys who were chewing khat. It's a plant
Oh, yeah.
with the same effect as amphetamines.
They were so hyped up on speed. It was like drinking pot after pot of coffee, and then the crash would come, and then it brought a lot of belligerence and a lot of anger and a lot of temper.
You and
Right.
Paul,
People who are on drugs or any, especially these stimulants, they are always, ready to turn on a dime. You can never really say anything because the reaction is so unpredictable. I've known people like that in my life as well, and these people with guns that are already, um, bad people, add drugs to that cocktail. It really is astounding that, not one of them flipped out, or, that those 93 days came to an end and she was still alive. Because you just, man, you can't even think of all these things. Whew.
came
is
up
tough.
with nicknames for a lot of the people who were keeping you. That's one of the ways you kept yourself occupied.
We did.
The 10-year-old boy?
Crack baby, because he was cracked out all the time. He was chewing khat, and he had 2 black holes for eyes.
Ugh.
There was nothing inside.
This is one of the camps where she was held. The bandits hit her, pointed their guns at her, and put a knife to her throat. But it was exposure that took a toll. She lost 25 pounds. After 3 weeks, the bandits made a video to prove that she was alive.
Have you seen the video?
I have.
Paul and myself, Jessica, we are safe and we are alive.
I can tell I'm starting to lose hope at that point.
But hope would have to last for 2 more months.
As the many weeks went by, did you think the American government's watching me, they know where I am, and somebody's going to get me out of here?
No,
Why?
because I'm just an aid worker.
You didn't imagine that the President of the United States knew your name.
Never. Never in a million years.
After 3 months in the desert, Buchanan had a serious urinary tract infection. And in a final...
Man, that's tough to think about, when you think, I'm not important enough. I've read this, a lot of this emotion and sentiment I'm hearing described by her. I've read about this, in books written by Holocaust survivors. The loss of hope, or the giving of nicknames to keep that alive, or even, thinking that the outside world forgot about them. Like, this is impossible, almost, right? That they wouldn't come to help us. Nobody would allow this. But in her terms, it's even like, I'm insignificant, and I'm just an aid worker. Why would they even know my name? Wow. I'm going to run that back a bit.
Buchanan had a serious urinary tract infection, and in a final call to the hostage negotiator, she said this.
I'd become so ill that I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, so I was in so much pain. And I said, I think I have a kidney infection. And I started to cry, and I said, I'm afraid I'm going to die out here.
When that call was received here in Nairobi, it set off a chain of events that led all the way to the Oval Office. The FBI and the military consulted doctors who said that if Jessica had a kidney infection, she might have just 2 weeks to live. That was transmitted to the president, who was also informed that in just a few days, there would be a new moon. Perfect darkness for a SEAL team rescue.
Wow. Jessica Buchanan had chosen a star in the Somali sky to represent her mother, who had passed away a year before. She spoke to it every night, and with no moon, it was especially bright on January 25th.
What did you say that night?
Please tell God that I need some help. We need to get out of here.
You couldn't have known that that prayer would be answered that night.
I had no idea.
She was on a mat trying to sleep when she heard a faint scratching noise. One of the bandits she nicknamed Helper heard it too.
And I see this look of just sheer terror on Helper's face. And then all of a sudden, it's just this eruption of gunfire. And I think, okay, well, this is it. This really is truly the end. And I cover up with my blanket again, and I just start saying, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I just remember thinking, or maybe I'm saying out loud, like, I cannot survive this.
She thought she was being taken by a rival group, maybe Al-Shabaab, Islamic extremists who would surely kill her.
And then all of a sudden, I feel all these hands on me, roughly grabbing at me. And I try to protect myself, and I pull the blanket closer on top of me, and then I hear my name. But it's not a Somali accent, it's an American accent.
Wow, that must be a relief.
And I can't compute, like I can't understand that somebody with an American accent knows my name. And they say, Jessica, we're with the American military.
Wow.
We're here to take you home, and you're safe. And I pull the blanket down from my face, and all I see is black masks, black sky, and all I can say over and over is, you're American. You're American. I don't understand. You're Americans. Right. Thinking, how did you get here? And I'm still alive.
Surreal.
And they ask me where my shoes are, and I don't know. And one of them picks me up and starts running. He runs for several minutes and puts me down on the ground. And then they identify themselves, and that they knew I was very sick. And they have medicine, they have water, they have food, and they've come to take me home. At one point, I think they thought they heard something, or I don't know, this group of men who's risked their life for me already asks me to lie down on the ground because they're concerned that there might be someone out there, and then they make a circle around me, and then they lie down on top of me to protect me. And we lay like that until the helicopters come in.
When all of those SEALs laid down on top of you.
Man, that must be, because you're not out of the woods yet, right? It's those painstakingly last minutes, and anything can still happen. You're overwhelmed by confusion, like, whoa, is this a hallucination that these people are here to rescue me? They put their own bodies on top of yours, to protect you with literally their own body. But then also the possibility of, where is this helicopter? Are we going to make it? Those are things like, it's unimaginable. Again, that spirit of survival, and some people are just, extraordinary. Wow.
You were the most important thing in the world to them.
It's really hard to comprehend.
They were going to take a bullet for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost incomprehensible. I understand.
And they're so kind, and they're so gentle, and they are trying to assist me to get to the helicopter. But I think I've been out here for months. I can run to this helicopter myself, and so I just break away, and I just take off running through the scrub, through the bush, and I throw myself onto that helicopter and push myself up against the wall. And I don't start breathing until we actually lift up off the ground. And they hand me an American flag that's folded.
What did you think of that?
I just started to cry. At that point in time, I have never in my life been so proud and so very happy to be an American.
The SEALs left on other helicopters. She didn't see their faces, didn't hear their names. They appeared, and they were gone. The only thing left in the camp were 9 dead bandits.
Sheesh.
Mr. Speaker!
Sheesh.
It all ended just hours before the State of the Union address. As the president walked in, he had a secret with Defense Secretary Leon Panetta that almost no one understood until later.
Good job tonight. Good job tonight.
After the speech, President
Didn't James Gandolfini play him in Zero Dark 30? Rest in peace.
Obama called Buchanan's father. Jessica met her husband, Eric, at a U.S. base in Italy.
I just couldn't believe he was standing there
That is,
and that I was standing there.
again, surreal.
And we had a second chance. And then later we flew to Portland, Oregon, and I was reunited with my father and my brother and my sister and her husband.
What was the first thing you said to your father?
Daddy. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. But we made it.
So did her Danish co-worker, Paul Thisted, who was also
I was
rescued by
wondering
the
about
SEALs.
that.
He said later that his lucky break was being captured with an American. Jessica Buchanan has told her
I was
story
also
in a
thinking
new
about
book,
that.
Impossible Odds, coming out this week. You may recall that she said that her first thought when being taken was that she was too young to die because she hadn't had children. Well, she's taken care of that too.
Another question I had.
She and her husband have a baby boy, and they've moved back to the States from East Africa.
That's beautiful. I hope they're doing okay. This has been a while, of course. I hadn't heard this story. It probably hit the news here in Belgium at the time, but you know, I was probably doing other things as well at the time. You know, maybe not keeping up with the news that much. Horrific but captivating story, and again a display of some extraordinary human beings. You know, the survival for 93 days. You know, just and you know keep on keeping on, and then of course the people who rescued her. I wasn't wondering about the person she got captured with, because they showed only a picture. You know, a still picture usually isn't really great news, because that usually means he passed away. But I'm glad he made it as well. And his comment about, "Hey, I got lucky that I was kidnapped alongside an American." I was thinking about that. I wasn't really going to bring it up because I said wife, you know. But I was thinking about that. What happens if like a Belgian person? I don't know. Not every country has the same means in terms of military power or tactical stuff, or you know, even the guts. You know, because you can provoke a bigger conflict doing that. You know, going to another country. And of course, this is a lawless country, but yeah, I wonder about that. If you come from a smaller country or whatever, you know, it's just maybe not possible, right? So luck is involved, guts are involved, tactics, and every other circumstance has to be right as well. Yeah, I was wondering about that. That was an amazing story. She definitely is a survivor, a hero. And I love that they gave her the flag right then and there. That's nice. And yeah, it's really cool to hear that she also has a family now and got a second chance at life. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing this and for spending some time with me. I really, you know, it's weird to say I like hearing about these stories because I wish they didn't exist, but it's important that we do know about some of these. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Have a great day. Goodbye.